Hi, Aries. How are we doing? Please surround us with the warm, light, loving light of God. Give us God-given guidance for the highest good of all, for Aries and all those who love Aries. Welcome to this special Halloween edition. Where is Aries and what crosses them? Okay. What's above them? What's behind them? What's beneath them? What's ahead of them? For Aries and all those who love Aries. Please surround us with the warm, light, loving light of God. Give us God-given guidance for the highest good of all, for Aries and all those who love Aries, for October 2018. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. The bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Imps. This is like the Five of Wands, so it's a very Aries card because Aries, I think, excels in competition, excels in like fighting for what they want and what they need. Whenever it's reversed, this is staying out of the competition, doing your own thing, not being involved in the competition. So might be a little out of character for Aries, but let's keep it moving. Let's see what this is all about. So we had two oracles pop out. First message is the lamp, remembrance. Ooh, the lamp, remembrance. I'm actually going to put you over here. And what is this? Lady de los Muertes. Acceptance and equality. Okay. Let me read from the book. This is a new oracle to me, so I don't know the technical meanings. I want to give you the best messages possible. This book, I will say, is a little long-winded, so let me see if I can give you a brief description. So the lamp says remembrance. I light a single candle within a lamp for you, a single flame in the darkness that reflects my heart so true. Oh, that's sweet. I tried to combine sweet and cute and got cute. Okay, let's get serious. So the lamp says, whilst it is a tradition to carve a jack-o'-lantern to scare away the spirits, it was an older tradition still to light a candle or a lamp on Halloween night and leave it at the window as a loving guide home for those who have passed. Oh, that's sweet. So some of you may be dealing with people who have crossed over, people who have gone to the other side, who have passed away. We are talking about Halloween, right? This is Halloween time, so that's when the veil between the living and the dead is the most thin, right? So if you are thinking about your loved ones, then this is a message for you, and I'm very sorry that they crossed over, but Halloween is an opportunity to reconnect with them, right? So the lamp goes on to say, both as a symbol of remembrance and also as a kind leaving the lights on for those who may wish to come home, the lamp was left on to illuminate the night and perhaps even the sadness that was felt because of the passing. Oh, so lighting your heart to remember that life. It's like when people die, it makes life more meaningful, right? So just honoring the dead, honoring the people who came before us and who taught us lessons and helped us grow and were a part of our life. This card reminds us that it is a positive thing to remember those who have passed by celebrating their life rather than mourning their death, like I was saying. For those with whom we did not have an easy relationship with, or even those we did not like, leave us with valuable lessons. Sometimes we learn more from our nemesis than we do from our friends, and so the darkness can illuminate our strengths and our true values so that we can live them more clearly and fully. So if you have someone who has passed away who was a jerk, I definitely have someone who's like them. It's saying that even jerks teach us lessons. So if you are struggling with your grief process, know that sometimes it's okay to be glad someone is dead. Just gotta throw that out there. I know it's kind of like not exactly a popular spiritual thing, but it happens. It's part of life. It's to not mourn or not have fond memories of all of those who are passing. But I think the majority of you, this is probably someone who you cared about. That's what I'm feeling. Lady de las Muertes says, pale you step out of the night in red lace, full flowers upon your crown. You bring the beauty of death, the equality and joy of the underground. It's kind of reminding me of, like, the Empress on the other side. I would expect the Empress to show up in this reading. Lady de las Muertes goes on to say, the iconic Lady of Death with a pale, skull-like face, zombie eyes, and rich red funeral flowers in her hair has become one of the most recognizable symbols of Halloween and the Mexican Day of the Dead. The original model for this flamboyant Lady of Death can be traced back to the ancient Aztec goddess. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word, but if you want to learn a new word today, it's Mekahala. Mekalekaha, Mekahani-ho, Mekalekaha, Mekachani-ho. Anyway, I don't mean to make fun of that, but I really can't pronounce it. As time went on, the figure remained balanced between beauty and horror and morphed into the Lady of the Dead and eventually into the more modern graphic figure of Katrina. It is also reported that the identity of the original Katrina was based on women who were very rich, and had everything they wanted in life. So yeah, it's kind of like that Empress feeling that I was talking about. Very abundant, right? Yet death takes everyone equally, so it is a reminder that no matter how beautiful, rich, popular, or famous you were, in the end, death takes a soul. You can't take it with you. Whatever riches you had in life, you cannot take it with you when you die. The Mexican culture has a long-standing history of laughing at death and seeing it as just another aspect of life. I like that. Especially since we're dealing with this whole loved one passing away from the lamp and then this death card here. In some ways, death is the last taboo in many Western cultures. We tend to hide away our dying, and some of us may never even see the body of someone who has passed in our whole lives. But this was a much more common occurrence in the past. Acknowledging that death is a natural process that will enter everyone's life at some point, and that perhaps until then we can choose to be life-affirming, takes away much of the fear. Take a light approach to a situation initially, and it may work out better. If you are holding on to something that does not serve you any longer, in particular material things, simplify and let it go. Some of you may be clearing out, if you did have someone who has passed away, you may be clearing out their stuff, and sometimes that's a little painful because we get sentimental about the material possessions, you know, like, I remember when Grandma used to wear this ring and stuff like that. But I do like what it said about taking on a more lighthearted approach to death. So if you are having trouble in the grieving process, humor does help. I also want to say that for some of you, you might be experiencing connecting with the other side, and that can be challenging in its own right, because, you know, if you're not, there's different energies, right? Oh my gosh, look, death. We keep talking about death. Okay. But some of you may be connecting to the dead, and it can be scary because it's this other world that we're not familiar with, right? But when I see the death card, sometimes I think of people who have crossed over in my life, right? We're talking about, this is a very morbid reading. We're talking about people who have crossed over, who have died. This could also be, if you haven't had anyone actually die in your life, this could be like a relationship that's died, a job that's ended, something like that, right? But death can be scary to the living because we don't know what's on the other side. We don't know what the afterlife holds. Are we going to heaven? Are we going to hell? Are our loved ones going to hold a grudge against us for the rest of our lives? So it can be very scary, but usually in the death card it shows like a Grim Reaper figure taking us on this new path in our spiritual incarnation, right? So just know that you have figures on the other side, perhaps even people who have crossed over, people on the other side who can help you transition. Death is about transformation, right? We die, we get buried into the ground, and then our guts decay and they become worm food, right? So it's like circle of life. It's just transforming from one thing to another, right? But the soul remains. So if you are having some scary things surface around death and dying, just know that there are angelic figures around you. There are spirit guides. There are, I'm thinking of the Angel of Death. There's an American Horror Story season. It's the one where they're in the Catholic insane asylum, and a girl wants to die. She like begs to die, and the Angel of Death swoops down. She has these big black wings, and she's like begging for the Angel of Death to kiss her and to take her away from human suffering, right? But the Angel of Death says, no, you're not ready. You still want to live. It's not your time yet. So the Angel of Death, it's in American Horror Story, it's this gentle figure, right? It's this very sweet, like black angel who takes you from the living to the other world. And so it's this very calm, nurturing figure. You might also be dealing with a Scorpio because death represents Scorpio. The Page of Bats is a card about feeling neglected, interrupted, abandoned. It's a card, it's a child of someone who is an old soul, and they are very excited to share their knowledge and to learn grown-up stuff with their parents or with older people that they look up to, right? So they're very eager to engage in these really heady and really philosophical conversations, but oftentimes they get poo-pooed by grown-ups because they are still immature and they don't know, like, the Middle East crisis, and they don't know, perhaps even discussing death. Like, you might feel like you're left out of a conversation about this person who has crossed over. Like, perhaps you might not be the arbiter of an estate or something, right? So you might feel left out of the process of who gets what, right? But just know that the person who has crossed over is watching over everyone, giving each other guidance, and they do have that sweet angelic quality about them, where they are taking you through the process of death, the transition of death. So if you do feel left out, just know that your like living loved ones might not be there for you at this time, but your loved ones who have crossed over, some of which you may have met, some of which you may have never met, you know, spirit guides, ghosts, angels, just things we can't see, the unexplained, they're there with you at this time to help you go through this process. In your thoughts position, we have the Four of Amps reversed. So I think for some of you, you are definitely experiencing an actual death. The Four of Wands is a happy home card. It can be like a happy marriage card. But it's like celebration. It usually shows four women, well, not necessarily four women, but it shows women who are setting up tent poles for posts. So they're putting the wands into the ground to set up a tent post for a wedding reception, right? Whenever it's reversed, it's kind of like I'm feeling funeral, right? Like setting up plans for a funeral, arranging funeral stuff. So this is funerals are celebrations of life. When done right, I actually get a lot of joy out of them because you are celebrating that person's life, right? You're not mourning their death so much as you are just sharing memories about what you experienced in their waking life, right? But the Four of Wands reversed is also an indication of an unhappy home, because the Four of Wands is about home. It's about, four is about structure, right? So whenever it's upright, This is a wedding, a happy home, celebration. Whenever it's reversed, it's kind of a bittersweet celebration, but also you could be having some disconnect with your loved ones at this time. Again, this Page of Bats, feeling neglected and abandoned and left out of the conversation. And that happens when people die. I hate that it happens, but you know, you might be fighting with your siblings over who gets what, and it can just get really ugly. So I really, for those of you who this is resonating, I know this is a very specific message. It's not really like, I mean, they're always general readings, but I know it's very specific right now. But I feel like it is an important message for those of you who are dealing with your family and negotiating who gets what, right? In the past, you were trapped in your thoughts. Like I said, for some of you, this is a person who you did not hold near and dear, right? They may be someone who tripped you up, who made you feel stuck, who, I'm hearing for some of you, I'm really sorry, I'm hearing for some of you abused you, right? And if you aren't dealing with an actual death, then you might have left an abusive relationship. But I'm just seeing like these bandages and thinking like, this is a person who has wounded you, right? And so you can take comfort in the fact, I mean, it is scary to go through this transformation, to go through this change, not knowing what's on the other side, maybe having left some things unsaid, right? Whenever my stepdad had a heart attack, he lived through his first heart attack, and after he survived, it was the first time he said he loved me. And so that was something that needed to be said in waking life, right? But then he got congestive heart failure like 6 weeks later, and he passed away because his heart wasn't strong enough to fight it, right? So there may have been some things that weren't said in waking, and I would strongly suggest, if that's the case, to light a candle, like this lamp, right? Light a candle and just kind of say your piece with with your loved one who has crossed over, and you might be able to free yourself of any sort of trauma, any sort of mental confusion, any sort of things that you felt stuck whenever you were in waking. Even if it's like a hate letter, you know, to say like, I hate that you did this to me. I feel like you need to sort of purge some things out of your system. In your foundation, we have, we have the High Priestess reverse. So I feel like for some of you, it's like you never believed in ghosts before, but having this person cross over, you are starting to suspend your disbelief. I feel like some of you might be visiting this video for the first time and have never even watched tarot videos, right? I feel like I'm getting a lot of new energy right now, and you might have thought it was all hooey. The High Priestess is an intuitive woman. She's the psychic lady. She is the one who she has access to the Akashic records, right? So she has access to the library with which we store all of our memories, all of our knowledge that we gain as a soul who is walking around in a human vessel. She kind of looks like Morticia Addams in this deck. You might have also been dealing with a Pisces, but whenever she's reversed, sometimes it can mean secrets coming out. Sometimes it can mean you need to use your intuition better. Sometimes, I always say, sometimes it means don't get so obsessed with psychics, right? If you are like hanging on for an outcome, right? So that's for some of you. Just try to like moderate your use in divination and the occult. But I just saw this black cat. I mean, they're everywhere, but I saw it now, and I want to say if you have a pet, then they're going to bring you a lot of comfort right now. But I feel like for the most part, I'm getting people who were previously skeptics, but they're entering a new phase in their spirituality because someone has crossed over, and so they have to, like, there's a reason that person crossed over, so that you could develop your intuition, so that you could develop your spiritual beliefs, and know that, you know, you may have been a non-believer in the past, but just recognizing that there are some things that humans, that are unexplainable, right? That are miraculous, and that seem like beyond our human comprehension, right? They are this, like, angel of death. They are the other world. They are the other side. And you can't explain your experiences, but they are still there, right? So, in your future, I like this. What's ahead of you? And I also want to say, I said future, which I hardly ever say, but I feel like our emotions create our future. And I feel like there are many different possibilities within our future. So this is just one outcome. I don't want to get too far into my specific beliefs, but I feel like tarot is more therapeutic than it is like fortune telling. So I'm bothered that I said future, but perhaps this is what you need to hear. Anywho, get on with it, Lauren. The Two of Ghosts, the Two of Cups. This is a union with someone who loves you as much as you love them. So this could be you reconnecting with someone who has crossed over, who you have loved very much. For some of you, this could be your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and I'm really sorry that you had to lose them. But just know that they're still with you and you're still connected. For others of you, I want to say that they are sending someone, like spirit, your loved one who's crossed over, and your other spirit guides are sending someone into your life to be your special someone, right? Your one and only. This is a very sweet couples card. It's just when you are on the right vibes with each other, you're devoted to each other, you love and appreciate one another, and it's true love. It's very sweet. So I'm glad, like, not only will you have these otherworldly figures to help you on your path, but you're going to have someone in the flesh, incarnate, to help you go through this process too. Let me know how this resonated with you, Aries. I love you very, very much, and I will see you next time. Bye.